You think you know what you're offering, but guess what? You probably don't. If your website says things like, I streamline operations or I improve efficiency and reduce costs, you do not have an offer. You have a LinkedIn headline, one that got tired and sat down years ago. LinkedIn headlines don't even convert on LinkedIn. So they're not converting on your website. Before you spend one more hour tweaking fonts or obsessing over your about page, just hit pause, because what matters when it comes to getting clients isn't your website. It's whether you actually know and can clearly communicate what you do. And that's what we're going to work on today. And make sure to stay to the end because I'm going to give you a quick self-test to make sure you've got it down. I'm Jerry, and I help accomplished executives avoid the pitfalls that sabotage most consulting businesses so that they can launch with structure, traction, and actual revenue. If people smile and nod when you explain what you do and then say, that sounds amazing, but never refer you to anyone, or if you're afraid to share what you do, even with your dog groomer, it's not because you're not qualified. It's because you don't actually know what you do, at least not in a way that solves a problem your buyers are itching to solve. But don't worry, that's what we're going to fix today. Look, you are not broken. You're just speaking executive. But consulting, that's a different language. That's where we're going to start with language and communicating clearly. Because no website, no matter how beautiful, can save a business that's unclear. I get it. Working on a website feels productive, official. It's a big project, something you can do when you're not quite sure what to do next. Plus, it gives you something concrete to show your family when you're done. But here's the truth, and listen up. Until you know what you're offering and who it's for, your website, it's just a distraction with a domain name. I'm going to repeat that. Until you know what you're offering and who it's for, your website is just a distraction. I've seen executives spend thousands on a site that looks gorgeous, but just sits there. No leads, no sales, just vibes. A time-consuming project that can get checked off a list. Why is that? It's because the copy, it's vague. The service, unclear. And the person it was supposed to speak to, that person clicked away, if they even found it in the first place, because they didn't recognize that your service was created just for them. The problem is not your design. It's the fact that you started communicating your business before you were clear on what you do. I'm going to say that another way. If you start your business by building your website, you'll be investing hours and hours and potentially thousands of dollars communicating your business before you know what you do. More specifically, before you know what you do that people want to buy. So, if websites don't come first, what does? It's simple. Clarity. Knowing what you're actually selling. And no, I sell consulting services doesn't count. That's like saying a restaurant sells food. Technically true, not very useful. Here's a tip. You're not selling your background or your experience or your passion. You are selling a solution to a problem someone is willing to pay to make go away, which means your offer isn't what you do, it's what they get. Let's say you tell people, I help teams work better together. Okay, good for you. But to a potential buyer, that sounds like a morale initiative, and nobody's got budget for vibes, even good ones. But what if instead you said, I help operations leaders reduce turnover by fixing toxic team dynamics so they can stop the cost, frustration, and reputational damage of bleeding top talent? Now we're talking. Now we're solving a problem someone is actively losing sleep over and likely has a budget to fix. Okay, so how do you build a clear offer that hits your target right in the sweet spot? Your offer needs three things, and here's what they are. One, a specific buyer. Two, a painful, recognizable problem. And three, a valuable outcome. That's it. Not your title, not your years of experience, just that triangle. Buyer, problem, outcome. If your offer doesn't hit all three, then what you're selling is just a vague, wordy way to confuse people who might have hired you. I say that with love. I've seen too many brilliant executives, women especially, try to market their resumes when what actually sells is a result. Let's dig in a bit and really make this effective. You've got the beginnings of an offer. Let's kick it up by aiming it at a target. This is where a lot of new consultants fall into what I call audience soup. I work with businesses. I help leaders. I transform teams. Okay, but which businesses? What kind of leaders? And what teams? Engineering? Bakers? Candlestick makers? I get it. You spent years being versatile, solving problems across departments, adapting on the fly. And that made you great in corporate. But in consulting, versatile is vague, and vague becomes invisible. To get clear on who you're selling to, you need to know these things: what they're responsible for, what keeps them up at night, what they'll get blamed for if it goes sideways, and what they'd love to get credit for if it works. Come on, you've been in corporate, you get that. That's who you're selling to. The person with a problem and a budget and a reason to say yes. If you say, I help executives avoid burnout, cool, but who's paying for that? Probably not the executive. But if you say, I help HR leaders reduce executive churn by fixing burnout culture at the root so that they can stop turnover from becoming contagious and a budget nightmare, now you're talking. Now someone has a reason to write a check. But be careful of executive speak because that can make it go sideways. If your site or your LinkedIn says, I create frameworks to support sustainable growth, or I create systems that drive long-term transformation, you're not being strategic. You might as well be pitching your business using interpretive dance. It may seem obvious to you, but they won't have a clue what you're trying to say. Nobody lies awake at night thinking, I need someone to optimize my organizational synergy. But they do toss and turn over, why is my team missing deadlines? Why do we keep losing good people? Or why am I still stuck in the weeds? Corporate speak is not persuasive. It's camouflage. It hides the fact that you don't know your buyer's pain well enough to say it out loud. And if your buyer doesn't hear their problem in real words, they keep scrolling. Or worse, they smile, nod, and say, that sounds amazing, and never think of you again. All right, now you've got the shape of your offer and the outline of your buyer. But how do you know if it's actually working? I mean, in the wild, with real humans who might pay you. I'm going to give you a quick 4-question self-test. Question number 1. Can you describe your offer without using the words coaching, consulting, or support? If not, you're selling a format, not a fix. 2. Could your closest professional peer refer someone to you after hearing your pitch? If your offer sounds impressive, but no one remembers it 5 minutes later, congratulations. You built a TED Talk, but not a business. Question 3. Can you name your ideal client's job title, their current headache, and what they'd get credit for if it gets solved? You don't need a persona and their hobbies and their birth order and sun sign and favorite coffee orders. But what you do need to know is who signs off, who gets blamed, and who wants the win. Question 4. Are you already getting DMs, intros, or actual curiosity when you talk about what you do? If you're met with blank stares and polite nods, or worst of all, compliments, your message is not landing. If you answered no to any of those four questions, you're not ready for a website. You're ready for clarity. Websites don't sell by showcasing vague. They sell by showcasing value. And until you can articulate that value, and I mean for a real paying human, you're just decorating. Now, if you can do this on your own, amazing. You're already leagues ahead of most new consultants. But if you're realizing this is easier said than done, if you're staring at the screen thinking, ugh, I don't know what I actually solve, that is not failure. That is the beginning of building a real business. And that's what I help executives like you do every day. Look, you've spent years being the one that people turn to. Now it's your turn to build something that reflects that clearly, simply, powerfully. So go run this test, get your message tight, and then come back for the next video to learn more. Or skip the solo stage and book a call with me. Let's build this right from the ground up, for real. I will see you soon.